took it to 10.
Hi there. If you're watching this, your student might be in my music history class. My name is Megan O'Connor Vince, and this is my landing page. So today I just wanted to take you through some additional resources and contact information and maybe answer any questions that you might have. Of course, is currently called From the Blues to Beyonce. This is a picture of me. I play the saxophone. That's my primary instrument. I went to University of Rhode Island for my undergrad, where I studied music education and saxophone. I also direct the jazz band after school here at Barnstable. I went to Columbia Teachers College for my master's degree. It's where I really established myself as someone who was very interested in hip hop and music production as a avenue for music education. So this is just a generic link to Google Classroom. I also have an Instagram. So if you're interested in following me on Instagram, this is my teacher Instagram at Mrs. OCV. I just post stuff that I think is interesting in kind of the modern world of music and anything that as a teacher I might find interesting. I also post different opportunities there in terms of clubs or activities. So that way students can kind of engage with that on social media as well as in the classroom. If you need to contact me for any reason, feel free. My email is listed here. My phone number and my extension is also here. This is my personal or professional website. I do conference sessions and workshops where I get to share what we're doing at Barnstable, which is really awesome. So if you're interested in my professional website or getting to know me more, a little bit more as a professional, you can check that out. This is more for the students, but again, if you're interested in kind of learning a little bit more about me and my musical tastes, I will try and update this throughout the school year, but these are just some albums that I had on current rotation during the summer. So many of you have probably received a text message via the app Talking Points. Talking Points is very similar to Remind. If you have never used Remind before or Talking Points, it's basically an app that I can use or you can use on the computer or your phone, or you can just receive text messages if you don't want to download the app. It's really great because it has a translation feature in it. For my students who are English language learners, this is a great way for me to communicate to home. So I can send a text in English and a family could receive it in Spanish or Portuguese or whatever language they're speaking at home. Text me back in that language, and then I receive that back in English. So again, it's very, very useful, and it's a great casual way for us to just keep conversation open. If you have not received a text message from me, or say only one guardian did and the other didn't, this is how you can subscribe. So you can click on whatever class that your student is in, the English, Portuguese, or Spanish directions in order to get yourself subscribed to Talking Points. If you're interested in checking out the syllabus or course expectations, basically it's just a general overview, kind of shows you a little bit more about the music history and music technology. This is my SoundCloud profile. So if you're interested in getting to know a little bit more about the program here, you can take a listen to that. This is a fun YouTube video. It's kind of like my welcome back video. Last year during the pandemic, we were instructed to do a video that, introduced us and kind of got the kids excited for school. So I did a parody of Savage by Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. So this year I wanted to continue the tradition, and I did Industry Baby by Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow. So you can check that out if you want. As you can see by my shirt, I'm wearing Ice Cube. I also do a segment with students called Music T-shirt Friday, where I wear a fun t-shirt, music t-shirt that hopefully inspires kids to kind of become more interested again in music and kind of being more analytical of what they listen to outside of my classroom. What we do is I take, whoever I'm wearing that artist, and I do a little segment on them on Fridays, usually kind of showing them some extra things outside of our curriculum that might get them excited or just be a good connection standpoint for us. And you can check that out on my Instagram as well. I usually try and document it. So now I'm going to click on this link here, Curriculum Night Slideshow, and I'm just going to show you a couple of things that kind of go in a little bit deeper. All right, so now we're on the Curriculum Night Slideshow that's posted on my landing page. And again, just want to take you through a couple. One thing that we're talking a lot at Barnstable now is about the why. So why students need this class. Music is a big part of culture, which is really just the study of the humanities. So with that being said, I pulled this quote from a podcast that I listened to called Dissect, and I've linked it here. Basically, it goes through major hip hop works and takes like a music theory analysis approach to it. So this quote was pulled basically explaining why, music is so important. So why we're here. This is my favorite thing about music, why I find it so valuable, why I've dedicated the majority of my life to it. Music demands us to listen, truly listen to someone sharing their experience and perspective. And to truly listen requires the listener to enter the conversation with empathy, the ability to set aside what you feel in an honest attempt to understand how someone else feels. Music is a great practitioner and conveyor of this principle. Of course, because inherently the act of consuming music is one of listening, but also because music makes us feel viscerally and emotionally, perhaps more than any other art form. Music's invisible airwaves penetrate more than our ears. They stir our blood, they excite our bodies, they awaken the mysteries of our deepest emotions. They reach out to our very souls. And perhaps this is the greatest descriptor of music itself. It's a conversation amongst souls, which are themselves invisible. When you combine music's innate power to communicate the invisible with the historical, personal, and inspirational messages like Lemonades, well, it represents the pinnacle of art of human emotion. And when you combine this with true, concentrated, empathetic listening, that's when you understand the power of art to connect us, to transform us. Because to see and feel the world through the eyes of another will undoubtedly change how you move in the world. It will impact the decisions you make because you have a better understanding of how your decisions affect others. And when you understand that, you will ultimately come to realize what Beyonce tells us in the conclusion of Lemonade, that to live harmoniously, to progress past our personal and communal transgressions, to transcend the sins of history, our actions must be rooted in accountability and empathy and compassion and love. In other words, we must listen. And I just think that really, that whole quote, I know it's long, really goes through the idea of how we can offer different connections to one another through empathetic conversations. And really, the thing that opens the door for a lot of those conversations is art and is music. So, if you are interested in checking out that podcast, again, it's called Dissect. You can listen to it on whatever you listen to on podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. The guy that does it, his name is Cole Kushner, and he's done seasons on Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Frank Ocean's Blonde, Beyonce's Lemonade. He's done a number of different seasons, and they're fantastic. Even if you're not a musician, I think you can really appreciate a lot of his writing and a lot of his explanations for kind of the music theory behind it. The last slide here is, again, just kind of goals for the year. So, again, providing an outlet of expression for students and to listen to others' perspectives. And again, by looking at that quote, that kind of answers a lot of how we're going to do that. So, with that, students are looking at different genres and they're looking at different cultures and different perspectives, for a lack of a better word. This is a great link here. It's very, very broad, but it basically kind of gives students an initial idea of how different genres are connected. So I've just clicked on the American music link on the slideshow. And again, this is a very general overview, but it does give students a little bit of a taste of what we're going to dive into. So, history of American music. What we like to talk about with music history is that everything is connected in a web. So, really, a lot of American music is based off of music of other cultures and kind of a melting pot, if you will. History of American music, they start with the blues. And I love this website because as you scroll down, you can also launch a playlist here talking about. You can click here for more information, kind of get different vocab words. You can click view more here for kind of an extended insight of the genres. So here we have jazz, starting at jazz. And again, you can click on the different playlist button here, country music. Again, I know I'm going fast here, but the start of rock and roll, soul music, Chuck Berry up there, and here we have Elvis, uh, Godfather, soul, James Brown, funk, which leads us to hip hop, which also leads us to more modern day, where we have EDM, really starting out in the 80s and 90s and leading us to today. So, again, very, very general overview, but again, just kind of gives you a little taste of kind of the big umbrella that we're going to cover in music history. So, that is the slideshow. And again, it's linked under the landing page. This website that we use gives you a little bit bigger of a picture than the initial website I just showed you with the American music history. This is called 100 Years of Rock. So, again, it kind of gives you an overview of specifically rock music from gospel to grunge. When you initially click on it, it brings you through this timeline here and shows you how everything is connected, which is really awesome. With that being said, you can also push the fast forward button here and just get to the end. But I like this website again because it gives students this web visual. You have a clear timeline here on the side. And when you click on a particular genre, it gives you a little recording here and it also shows you what it's connected to. You can see that some of the other genres here are kind of grayed out. So, with that being said, again, students have the ability to kind of get the bigger picture of what we're looking at. And we always talk about, look at the 1960s and 70s with this explosion of music. And I think it just gives them a real idea of what we're actually looking at in terms of development and how technology was a huge part in making this happen, right? We didn't really get a lot of kind of more modern music technology until the 1960s. Another great website that we use in music history, and I also use this in music technology as well, but particularly in music history, obviously, musicmap.info. Now, this website is fantastic because even though we were just looking at kind of the broad overview, right, and you have some playing examples attached to that previous website I showed you, this takes you a lot deeper. So, say we click on the blues, right? It gives us a summary, which I think is pretty obtainable for our students to read and kind of understand that. If I click on genres here, it gives me subgenres of that genre. And let's say I click on a particular subgenre. Again, it gives me a little summary. And then it gives me a playlist, which I think, obviously, as a music teacher, is probably the most important part. You want to know how it sounds as well as how it's connected to the historical aspects and characteristics of the genre. One of the coolest things about this website, though, is if I zoom in here, you can see that I get this awesome web of different connections. So let's say I hover over something, I can see what it's connected to right then and there. So again, this is really extensive. I have my years over here as well. So there's your timeline. So you get to see, you know, the timeline of these different genres. But just being able to make connections with cross genres and kind of seeing how things really evolved, I think is really valuable in getting the bigger picture. The last thing here that I want to leave you with is at the bottom of my landing page, again, we have my video, my Little Nas X parody. So I'll play you some of that just so you kind of get a little taste. It's fun, it's silly. I try not to take myself too seriously with the students. And again, just kind of gives them an opportunity to kind of know a little bit more about me.
Welcome back, hey, welcome back, hey. I'm so glad you are here, learning with no fear. Big return, hey, here to learn, hey, here to learn, hey. And this one is for the students, making beats for expression, music technology progression. Every class is a new session. I'll teach you rap and jazz history with technology. Associating genres, making all the connections. OCV rooting for everyone, making sure we're always having fun. Tech is always gas, pals in class, tell them that summer's over. Need to learn Hendrix, still waiting on Kendrick. Need to learn Soundtrap, Google Classroom now. Getting new skills, wow. I'm a cool teacher like Bill Nye, always reaching for the sky. Little Nas X beat, super fly, yeah. Oh, let's do it. Can't wait for you to submit. Fire beats popping on SoundCloud, making OCV super proud. And this one is for the students, making beats for expression, music technology progression. Every class is a new session. I'll teach you rap.
So again, if you want to check that out, you can click on the link and watch that on your own time. Thank you so much for supporting your student in their kind of musical journey. I can't wait to see what they create. So again, if you need me, you can reach me on via my email or my phone number, or you can follow me on Instagram at Mrs. OCV. And I hope you have a great school year. Talk to you soon.